Rink-wide Vancouver. Pre-game, post-game, every game. Presented by Bodog. Make a play at Canada's choice for free casino games, sports odds, and poker strategies. Wadden and JPat here with you with another pre-game as we get you set for the Canucks and the Blue Jackets, the battle of the winless teams in Columbus, JPat.
Yeah, another night, another opportunity for the Canucks to get in the win column, but the Blue Jackets are thinking that same thing, and I'm sure Bruce Boudreau's getting tired of this script of chasing 600, and I was just thinking about, this is the Canucks' fourth game of the season, so a fourth opportunity for the head coach to get to that milestone number, but really, if you back it up to the final game of last season, the Canucks lost in a shootout in Edmonton, so this is the fifth opportunity for Bruce Boudreau to try to track down that elusive 600th win, and I'm pretty certain that the coach isn't worried about 600 at this point. 600 will take care of itself if the Canucks are able to get that first win of the season tonight.
All right, so we know all about the Canucks blowing multi-goal leads, but the last time the Canucks faced the Blue Jackets, it was CBJ that blew a multi-goal lead. A 3-0 lead evaporated. The Canucks beat them 4-3, and that was in the middle of that win streak that Bruce Boudreau after taking over for Travis Green. Now, the Canucks have played Columbus very well over the years. In 63 total games, they have a .683 points percentage. So they play Columbus well, but JPat, most teams played Columbus well over the years. It's going to be gut check time for the Canucks here. They can't go 0-4 here on this 5-game road trip so far.
No, but as you pointed out on our post-game pod after the loss in Washington, somebody's got to win. That's just the way this NHL works, whether it's overtime, whether it's a shootout. There is a team that's going to emerge victorious, but it does feel like it has to be the Vancouver Canucks. The heat is on. You can feel it in the market. The angst is here. This was a team that talked about the importance and understanding the importance of a fast start to the season after what happened last year, 25 games in, the house cleaning, and they're not anywhere close to the 25-game mark, but they are 3 games in, and there have been a world of problems, most notably third periods, protecting leads. Canucks have been outscored 7-0 in third periods in just 3 games so far this season. So interesting to see what Bruce Boudreau does in terms of the lineup tonight. He's got some options, and I do think he's got some decisions to make.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like that one decision might be in goal. It's expected that Spencer Martin's going to get the start.
Yeah, this one, I think the Canucks would have drawn this up prior to the season. They start with a 5-game road trip. You've got to get Spencer Martin in there, and you've got to make sure that you manage Thatcher Demko smartly after what happened last year, basically running him into the ground. And so I do want to believe that this organization learned some lessons, but, you know, to me, this would be a sign of absolute panic if Bruce Boudreau at 0-3 decided that he was going to veer from the script here and come back with his number one guy, because let's be honest, Thatcher Demko hasn't been particularly strong to start this season, like the team in front of him. Kind of looks like he needs a night off and a chance to reset and work with Ian Clark, perhaps at a practice in Minnesota before they finish up the road trip against the Wild at XL Energy Center on Thursday. But it's tonight, it's CBJ, and it just feels like it's time for Spencer Martin to make his first start of the season. Remember last year, terrific in 2 different spot sessions. Came up and played 3 games each time, so 6 appearances for the Canucks. Went 3-0-3, didn't lose in regulation, so he delivered points for the Vancouver Canucks every time that he suited up last season. His last game action, though, was that preseason contest out in Abbotsford where the Canucks prevailed against the Edmonton Oilers. Connor McDavid was doing Connor McDavid things. Spencer Martin wasn't particularly sharp, I didn't think, that night. Gave up 4 goals on the first 14 shots, but he did stop the last 7 shots that he faced as the teams went back and forth. And so in crunch time was able to come through, post a victory. And I kind of get the feeling that the Canucks wouldn't care what this game looked like tonight as long as they find a way to get the W. So Spencer Martin, some pressure on him to deliver now that he has earned this backup job. He's got the contract here. It looks like he's left the American Hockey League behind, but these are the kind of nights where he has to step up and make the most of this opportunity. Looking forward to seeing what Spencer Martin can do for the Vancouver Canucks tonight.
Speaking of getting the contract and securing the bag, Ilya Mikheyev got that in the offseason from the Canucks, looking to make his debut tonight for Vancouver.
Yeah, this can't come soon enough. I'm sure he's been anxious as he's rehabbed through the preseason, played the period and a half against the Calgary Flames in the preseason opener, suffered what we think was a knee injury, and since then has been on the road to recovery. And we've been told that he's close, and it just kind of feels like tonight is the night. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. Just plug him right into the penalty kill, rather. Make sure that he's one of your top penalty killers, because this has been a massive issue for the Vancouver Canucks. 6 for 12 on the penalty kill so far, 50%. That's not going to get it done. I think we're all tired of talking about the penalty kill from last year. And here we are 3 games in, and it's front and center. Interesting comments, too. In fact, a lot of interesting events after the game last night. Canucks give up the 4 unanswered goals in the third period in Washington. A players-only meeting after the 3rd game of the season. The coach calling his team mentally weak. But also, in the same breath, Bruce Boudreau mentioned that the penalty kill, he said they keep getting scored on in the first 15 seconds. Well, guess what? That tells me that perhaps it's time to change up the personnel a little bit. So you get Ilya Mikheyev, who's an ace penalty killer. That's great. But if JT Miller and Curtis Lazar have been your top 2 penalty killing forwards and you're getting scored on 15 seconds into every penalty kill, maybe it's time to go away from those 2 and just give somebody else a shot, mix it up a little bit. How can it hurt? Your team's only killed off 50% of its penalties so far this season. So I think Mikheyev and his speed and even strength, that's going to help. Also looking forward to seeing what he can do on the penalty kill, although maybe we temper expectations for a guy coming off a knee injury that it's going to take him a little bit of time to catch up to the speed of NHL regular season hockey.
We saw Noah Juleson play last night for the Canucks. Do we expect it to be Rathbone time tonight?
Well, there's also a suggestion that Tucker Pullman could be possible after sitting out yesterday. So the Canucks didn't have a morning skate after playing last night and traveling to Columbus. So I think we're going to have to wait closer to puck drop to get the official lineup for the Vancouver Canucks. But it does feel, when you give up 6 goals, it feels like you certainly could open the doors to some changes. So I would take Noah Juleson out, maybe Riley Stillman. If Pullman's healthy, maybe Stillman stays in. Maybe Pullman needs a little extra time. Whatever the case, it just feels to me, and I thought this yesterday ahead of the Washington game, but it just feels like it's Jack Rathbone time. This is a guy that makes your team out of camp and then gets passed by the first recall as the Canucks call up Juleson and plug him right into the lineup. And, like everybody else in the lineup last night in that third period, I thought Juleson had his struggles, was on the ice for the tying goal, I think it was, if not the go-ahead goal. So, Noah Juleson is depth on this hockey club. That's where he started the year. Jack Rathbone is here. He has sat and watched and been patient. 3 games in, this team has given up too many goals. Why wouldn't you give Jack Rathbone the opportunity? So if he doesn't play tonight, I don't know what the message is. Maybe I do know what the message is, but Rathbone must be wondering, what do I have to do to get in this lineup for a team that's 0-3? Give him a chance. This kid can skate. We know that. If there are questions about his defensive prowess, then let's find out for ourselves. But I thought he had a decent preseason. They played him 5 times, a bunch of shots on goal. I think he had 12 shots in those 5 games. And didn't register any points, but this is a guy that has scored already in the National Hockey League, has 3 points on his resume in 17 games spread over the last couple of seasons. It just feels like it's time to give Jack Rathbone a look on the back end, especially if you can insert some fresh legs and you think of how much Quinn Hughes played last night and Kyle Burrows playing a career high 24 minutes. A little bit of energy, some fresh legs. I think it's time to put Jack Rathbone into uniform.
On his 20th birthday, Kent Johnson of the Columbus Blue Jackets facing off against his hometown team. Now, he's a World Junior star. We saw that he's got the offensive capabilities. This kid looks to be a good one for CBJ, and of course, he's a local product.
Yeah, you think CBJ, and obviously right up front, you think of the offseason and Johnny Hockey, and he'll be in the lineup. You probably also think Patrick Laine, he's not going to be in the lineup. Injured on opening night, an elbow injury that's going to keep him out for 3 to 4 weeks, but I did see on social media that he's back skating, and again, it's an elbow, so keep the fitness levels up, sort of like Brock Besser and his injury through the preseason as well. But the Blue Jackets need Patrick Laine. They need that elite goal scorer, and so they're going to miss him, and it's been a struggle. They only have 5 goals to this point in the season. Gustav Nyquist, the only player on their roster to have 2 goals so far this year. Johnny Hockey with a goal and an assist. And then you get to a guy like Kent Johnson, and they're excited about him, and he's a big part of their future. 5th overall pick in the draft a couple of years ago. Still looking for his first NHL goal. So as you said, on his 20th birthday, wouldn't that be quite a story? First time that he has ever faced his hometown team, the team that he grew up watching, based out in Port Moody. And we'll see what Kent Johnson has in store for this one. Would love to celebrate the birthday with a victory, but also looking for that first goal of his NHL career. And you know that it's got to be just around the corner. There's a ton of talent in this kid. And as I said, the Blue Jackets are high on him. They think that he's going to be a big part of what they're trying to put together there. But he doesn't replace Patrick Laine in the short term. And so that's a massive blow to this Columbus Hockey Club that we said right off the top, 0-3 out of the gates. And, they look at some of the reasons for the problems. And I do think, and you line up, you play all 82, you face every team in the league, but they've opened against Carolina, Tampa, and the St. Louis Blues. So not an easy schedule, certainly, for the Columbus Blue Jackets. I think they look across the ice tonight, see a fragile Vancouver Canuck team, and think, hey, here's one that is there for the taking as well. So we'll see what happens, but we do know somebody's losing streak comes to an end at Nationwide Arena tonight.
Will my losing streak come to an end tonight with my Bodog best bets? I'm 3-0 right now, so making you some money. Let's hope I can make you some money tonight. Here's what I got as my Bodog best bet. JT Miller and Johnny Hockey, Johnny Gaudreau, to record over 0.5 assists in the game. That's plus 260. So basically, they just need an assist each in the game, and you're winning money. That is my Bodog best bet. Looking to go 4-0 to start the season, JPat.
Yeah, I like that. As we said, Johnny Hockey with a goal and an assist so far. JT Miller scored last night. It's funny. I was looking at the Canucks shots on goal total so far. And again, it's only 3 games in, so I recognize small samples here. But it's undeniable the chemistry that exists between Elias Pettersson and Andrei Kuzmenko. Kuzmenko hit the post there in the third period last night, and Pettersson finished with a goal and 2 assists. Kuzmenko leads the Canucks with 12 shots on goal, Elias Pettersson with 11. So those two have combined for 23, and then there's this massive drop-off among the forward group. JT Miller only has 5 shots on goal so far this season. Now, he scored on 2 of them, so the shooting percentage is off the charts good. It's not going to stay at 40% all season, but you want to see the shot volume up. And then you get to Brock Boeser, 3 games in, just 2 shots on goal for Brock Boeser. So that has to change. Boeser has he's got 3 points in the 3 games. So, there is a bottom line element to it, but I didn't think it was a particularly strong game for Boeser and Horvat and Tanner Pearson last night. So they've got to be better. JT Miller has to be better. They can use more from Elias Pettersson. Again, I look to the leaders of this group. They're the ones that are going to have to drag the Canucks out of this dreadful start.
A lot of names that you just put down there. Perhaps one of them is your do something candidate?
There were a lot of names there, and they're all do something candidates. Let's be honest. This goes top to bottom. There's nobody that can escape the finger pointing right now. It's a team game, and this hockey club is 0-3, and as we said, squandering multiple goal leads in all 3 of the games, the third periods. How about somebody steps up and scores a third period goal for a change? Canucks have been pretty decent in first periods, but third periods have been their nemesis to this point. But forget the players. I'm going to put this one on the coach. He's in the hot seat right now. We talked about the fact that the penalty kill, and he keeps trotting up the same guys, and it's the same results. And I think that's the definition of insanity, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm looking at Bruce Boudreau. Like, the players take the cues. Ultimately, it's the players that have to go out there and make things happen on the ice. But the coach, the buck stops with him, and he's still looking for that first win of the season, 600 in his career. So I want Bruce Boudreau to, pull the right levers and push the right buttons and find whatever motivational tools are required to get this team over the hump. They've played well in stretches in these first 3 games, but they haven't put together a solid 60 minutes. And so for that reason, I'm going to put the coach in the crosshairs on this one. It's time for Bruce Boudreau to do something to get this team its first victory of the year.
Yeah, get that 600th win as well. Get that monkey off his back, if you will. Do you agree or disagree with JPat's choice to do something tonight? Leave it in the comments below, or let us know how you're feeling about this Canucks team so far. We'd love to hear from you. And of course, we'll have the post-game podcast for you available as quick as we can after the final horn, available on all your favorite podcast platforms. All right, JPat, Canucks looking for win number 1 on the season. Should be a good one tonight against the battle of the winless teams in Columbus. Yeah, really selling this one, aren't I? This has been another edition of the Rink Wide Podcast, Vancouver edition, presented by Bodog. For Jeff Patterson, I'm Andrew Wadden. Remember, Rink Wide is the show that always scores.